for some reason, I just hold myself to this totally different standard, and I think that I am the most unspecial snowflake.
Tagline?
Of course not.
Okay, I can come up with one on the fly.
Okay.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
And welcome to Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast that will never blame you for something you didn't do. This has way more potential.
Yeah, I suppose if I'd thought about it for a second.
Well, it's okay. You've had a busy morning. I'm Christina.
And I'm Lauren.
And we're really shitty at coming up with taglines.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's okay.
It's all gonna be okay.
Lauren, where are you at today?
Can I not answer first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
Let's see. I'm still depressed. In fact, right before we started recording, I was just sitting at my desk and I noticed this wave of depression just wash over me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because I was thinking about things I blame myself for, as we'll get into later.
Yeah, the topic?
Yeah, the topic is really depressing, I gotta say. I'm really looking forward to talking about it, but it definitely put me in kind of a heavier mood. Some good news, I got my back pay, or at least part of it, and that was good. I've been working on a new project that I don't want to say what it is yet, but basically I've been keeping really busy this week, and taking care of my mental health has not been a top priority.
Yeah, as happens.
Ironically enough. Yeah. It's so embarrassing to me how I can talk about this stuff all day long, but then when it comes to implementing it in my own life, it's I have no idea.
Well, I feel, sometimes just knowing what you should be doing does not translate to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's historically been my issue with seeing dietitians in the past. After one or two, it's kind of yeah, I know. You're not going to tell me something, brand new.
Exactly. I don't know, man. I'm just here. I don't know. I haven't been doing great. I just feel like I've had a lot of brain fog lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the word I would choose to describe this week is numb.
Mm-hmm.
In case you can't tell,
mm-hmm.
It's been really hard to get myself to really care about anything. And I know that's typical depression.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll get into it later when we talk about blame, because I have a whole laundry list of stuff for that.
Okay.
How are you feeling in this moment?
So I think my thing this week is I've just been feeling tired, exhausted by life. It feels like it's getting to me, and I mean, I feel like this pattern is nothing new, but the fact of anything that I want to accomplish, or, if I want to put some effort into trying to make anything better, then it just feels like it has to be all me. And that, that gets really tiring, where it's just
yeah,
I don't need to be no, I'm going to sit here and, do nothing and everyone should cater to me. But I'm just one time, could someone do one thing for me? That's all.
Seriously, no one thinks you're out there begging, I'm thinking of some of the metaphors you've given over the years. For some reason, I'm thinking of the one where you're supposed to build a bicycle,
mm-hmm.
and you've been given no parts, and they're here, you have to do everything yourself.
Oh yeah. When you said that, I couldn't remember what the metaphor was, but I was I do remember doing a build a bicycle metaphor.
Well, so I mean, obviously you put a lot of pressure on yourself. It's the people-pleasing side is battling the side that knows we deserve more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but it's really easy for me to get stuck in that cycle of doing everything and then resenting others when they don't step up. But also I didn't ask for it, so it's yeah, really exhausting.
But also, I feel that it's at the totally worn down. It's I get that. I've told myself in the past things like that, where it's well, people can't know if you don't ask. But doesn't it seem obviously not all the time, but maybe once in 100, someone could just ask me.
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like, is it's like, I'm not asking for people to only read my mind. I'm just saying one time, could you reach out?
You're not even asking for a lot.
Mhm.
You're just asking for the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Ugh, that frustrates me so much.
Total side note.
Because you do.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was just going to rant. It's good you cut me off.
Okay. I was going to say, so because I have class later today, and what I've been doing is getting those shake protein drink things, like getting some of those to have before class. And so I just had a vanilla one, and I have a lot of like flavor extracts, so I decided to put a little bit of orange in to make an orange creamsicle, and it's amazing.
Oh my god.
Just wanted to say that. Life hack here, guys.
All the ED girlies are out there writing the recipe down. I cannot drink the vanilla ones because they just remind me of like treatment. I'll do the chocolate though.
Yeah, I can't do chocolate.
I feel like we've had this conversation before, and every time I'm shocked.
Preferably, I would always find strawberry, but it's a harder one to find.
Ooh, yeah. I need to stock up on some of those protein drinks because they're really helpful when it's hard for me to eat.
Yeah.
Like when I'm afraid of food, like I kind of am now.
Yeah, when it's a combination of like food has got its own issues with me, and also I'm too exhausted to go out and get anything or make anything.
Yeah, or you don't have time.
Yeah, like when all those things are fighting against you. Yeah.
They're just really expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're both kind of dead today.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say we're both kind of dead inside, which might also be true.
I mean, where's the lie?
Exactly. It's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like both of us have just had a couple weeks in a row that like really successively have beaten us down. So,
well, and this will tie into our topic, but I think one reason it's extra hard for me this time around is that I am keeping it mostly to myself. I'm not really talking about it with people because I don't want to like bother them or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, just gonna put out there, how well has that always worked for me? Maybe that's not the best thing for you to be doing.
Well, yeah, and so then it's like, well, I feel shitty because I'm isolating. So, like, it's my fault that I am lonely and my, like, mental health is declining. Like, if I just reached out to the right person or called the right place, like, I wouldn't have to be in this mess. But I don't. So, it obviously must be my fault.
So, the blame game.
Yeah.
Which, how convenient.
So, we asked the question, what do you blame yourself for? And why do you think you are the sole person responsible? We only got one answer for this one, full disclosure, but I don't doubt that we'll find stuff to talk about anyway because it's us. And we blame ourselves for everything. So I guess we can play the voicemail first.
Okay.
It is from my sister Caroline.
Okay, I think I'm ready to play.
Yay.
I blame myself for just a couple things. There aren't too many things I try to lay down the hammer on myself for, but things I do regret were, one, not seeking help when I was age 13, 14 to 20 for mental illness. I wanted to maintain an image that I thought was better and more acceptable, which, yes, we can be gracious to ourselves and, not blame ourselves for that, but it's something that was very much in my power. I could have been more brave and used my resources. And then losing touch with certain friends is the second one, because I definitely dropped the ball on friendships that felt too exhausting or tiring to keep up with, that I didn't see as too deep. But now when I look back at our memories, I wish I had kept up with these precious people who wanted to be in my life. And yes, I can reach out, but it's a little bit different. But you learn from all these things. It's not like everything made sense at the time. And so retrospect is 2020 or whatever they say. Hindsight. So yeah. Cheers.
Oh my god. That was my first time listening to that also.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. For the first half of it, I was screaming like, but you didn't have resources, but you didn't feel like you could ask for help. Also, would you have known what to ask for when you were 13?
Oh my gosh, yes. This is the same thoughts I had.
And we literally had the same exact childhood, but like, we both blame ourselves. And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. Because I was finding it interesting already, like, knowing, like, my thoughts on this question. And yeah, I was saying the same thing, like, especially starting out when she's like, oh, I didn't seek help when I was, like, 13, 14. And I was just kind of like, but when you're 13, 14, it shouldn't be your responsibility. So I was like, you didn't, what was missing that you didn't get what you need? It's not you. And then after that, you know, like, getting so, like, worked up about that, I was like, well, doesn't this just feed into, because if it was myself, I would say the exact same thing. But anybody else,
Yes!
I think you should not be blaming yourself like that. You could not have known. Yeah.
Literally. It's crazy because, I don't know, in our family at least, it was very easy to kind of, if you wanted to hide something, you could. Because, you know, with 7 kids.
You got so many people, I would imagine. Yeah.
So it was easy to, like, kind of skate under the radar. With our eating disorders, for instance, I know she struggled with anorexia for many years, and she didn't say a word about it until she was recovered, honestly. Like, we didn't connect about it until relatively recently. And so I forget how long it had been that she was just, like, struggling in silence, to use a cliched phrase.
Yeah.
And yeah, the friendship thing is rough, too.
Yes, because I have conflicting thoughts on that, because I do, you know, I felt the same way as well. And hearing someone else say that, I want to say, you know, I don't know, you can't predict how things will work out. So I felt like, you know, she tried to kind of say that, you know, these are still, like, really good people that I could have, like, still had in my life, you know, so there is, like, a good reason to have regret, but I still wonder if you lose touch with someone, especially the word she used, like, it felt too exhausting and too tiring to keep it up, then that makes me wonder, just kind of like, it might have been a good choice, at least at the time then. Because if a friendship feels like that, there's something wrong.
Yeah, it's almost like a sense of FOMO, because, like, she talks about going through pictures and feeling nostalgic for that time, and like, well, what other memories could we have made if they were still in my life? But also, you don't know what things will look like if they had stayed in your life.
Exactly.
You know, it is pointless to go down that rabbit hole, I think.
And it is, I mean, I do know it's hard, so I'm not blaming you for this, but it is possible to reach out to people later, and sometimes, you know, you're pleasantly surprised. They're just as happy to hear from you, but I do know it's also a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of my friendships, the effort has been unequal, and I'm often the one who isn't reaching out as much.
Yeah.
I've never been one of those people that, like, text someone every single day. Usually I don't know, I'll go through phases where I will be in frequent contact, but then I'll kind of disappear for a few days, and that's annoying to deal with as a friend, you know.
Yeah, and I understand that, you know, looking back at it, but I always, like, I've come to realize, like, it's hard to fight that, because I feel like yes, I can look back and see how I've kind of, you know, pulled back, disappeared, wait for other people to say things and do things and stuff like that. And I get it on that other person's side. Like, yeah, that would be kind of a exhausting friendship to try and keep up. So I understand if they pulled away, but knowing, like, myself, I'm like, but I also know I was definitely in a position when I'm choosing to do this, thinking like, oh, no one wants to hear from me. I'm just bothering people. I should leave them alone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it wasn't fun on my side. It's not like I was sitting back thinking like, well, they can do the work if they want to contact me.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, it's not on any one party to do all the work. If it feels like that, then you should re-examine that relationship.
Yeah.
I have a whole fucking list of things that I blame myself for.
Oh, wow. I just took the easy way out and said everything.
Why am I surprised? Oh, man. That's... So, Lauren, why do you think you are the sole person responsible for everything?
Well, I don't know. And that's something I feel like I've tried to figure out time and again. But I do know, for some reason, I just hold myself to this totally different standard. And I think that I am people would use like, if you're saying that, they'd be like, oh, I think I am the special snowflake. And I'm just kind of like, no, I think I am the most unspecial snowflake. That's
But in a way, whether we're saying like we're the best or we're the worst, that's like a lot to put on one person. Like we're assuming we're special.
Yeah.
Like we're either extra worse than everyone else or like, I don't know. I've had moments where I've felt like better than other people too.
Mm-hmm.
They're like rarer, but I don't know. I think saying you're the worst is almost just as quote unquote selfish as saying you're the best, because you're saying like, I'm different.
It is.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, that's why I said like I'm the most unspecial snowflake, which still puts me in this weird pedestal that it's like I'm the most.
Yeah, it's like an inverted pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
Lately I've been feeling like really guilty about this very thing, just feeling like I'm the worst and no one could possibly understand, and like it's my fault that everything is going to shit. And it's a very lonely place to be. And it also illuminates the need to work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like the worst, it's easy to say, oh, well, I'm a lost cause. Or like, I did this to myself, so I deserve to stay this way.
Yeah. Yeah, both those things are like giving you a pass to stay there, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. And like, as we've said before, it's kind of comfortable at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's predictable. It's familiar. It's hard to explain to someone who like doesn't hate themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think once we give voice to the things that we think are our fault, I think it immediately sounds ridiculous.
True. I think that's why it was harder for me to come up with like something specific, because if I started listing things, then yeah, I'd have to look at it with a critical eye like, really? Really? Come on.
Well, I think you're going to relate to a lot of the ones that I wrote down.
I probably will. Let's hear it.
So, number one, I blame myself for my physical health.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been kind to my body. I feel like I was born into a very, like, quote unquote normal body, and I, like, ruined that by, like, treating it poorly. And so any issues I have with my health further down the line, like, it could be a year from now, it could be 10 years from now, but I will 100% think I deserve it because of the ways I've acted in my youth. I blame myself for my addiction because I didn't have to pick up the drugs. I could have just said no.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not agreeing with that. I'm saying I'm agreeing with your feeling.
Yeah, yeah, and I realized that the whole addiction piece is actually an area I blame myself a lot more than like on paper, I don't believe addiction is an individual issue. I think it's systemic and it's filling a need within the person. Like, I would never say, oh, you chose your addiction and it's your fault and you have to take all the blame. But when it comes to myself, again, I have different standards.
Yeah. So when you said you would blame yourself for your physical health, then I kind of have no feelings on that for myself, I realize, because as we've talked about, I still cling to this idea that like my physical body is mysteriously invincible and nothing is ever going to actually be wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't have those feelings, but as you're talking, I realized how much, and I think we've touched on this before too, I do really blame myself for all of the mental health issues. Yeah,
and I meant to say physical/mental health because like your brain is part of your physical
yeah, I mean, I
form.
figured especially when you touched on the addiction part that you were saying like that as well as the physical.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I've never stopped feeling guilty, even, after like all the years when I would love to be rid of these things, and would try things and still doesn't work. But particularly, I think like being maybe like an early teenager is where I had thoughts like I wanted to be depressed. I wanted an eating disorder. Because for both of those things, then I had, the beautiful fantasy of how it should look in my brain. And that's why I thought I wanted it. But it still always makes me feel like after dealing with both those things for decades, just kind of like, well, you wanted this. So that's really probably why it happened, is you tried and then you realized many years later it actually sucks, but you maybe shouldn't have tried to do that. You screwed yourself.
Well, and eating disorders are tricky because, like, sometimes they do start out as, like, a diet or, you know, something you have control over. But then even if you chose it, and that's a big if,
Yeah.
not a black and white answer, there has to be a point where you lose control.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole nature of the disorder.
For that, I think there's a lot of times there is, like looking as if you had some sort of agency in it where you made a decision, being like, I'm going to cut down my calories. I'm going to start exercising more. And you feel like I did something to bring this on. But the thing is people do that all the time. And if there wasn't already something in you that took it too far, like that part you didn't do.
Yeah, because otherwise everyone would have eating disorders.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's so true. And addiction's kind of the same way. Because for some reason, I'm thinking of the opioid epidemic. Because a lot of the people that got hooked on Oxy just had normal injuries. Like, they got it prescribed by their doctor.
Yeah, it got thrown at people too easily. And
right. And they became addicted. And then, they needed more and more. And maybe they started, buying heroin on the street or whatever and ruined their life. And so I feel like now that we are, like, in history, we're further ahead, that we know what the real story is. We know that those people were all victims and we don't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
But in the moment when that was happening, my sister's calling me. Hold on.
Okay.
I am on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was
Hello.
We're leaving.
Lauren says hello. The letter is on the table in the hallway.
Okay, perfect. Love you, Queen.
I love you. Bye. We just read your voicemail.
Love that. Aw. Wait, tell me one more time where this letter is. I'm so sorry.
It's by your keys.
Thank you.
Bye. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Anyway.
So sometimes I don't know how well I convince myself, but I can kind of try and give myself some grace for the feeling like I gave myself an eating disorder on purpose. Because I told you, like, I've also had that feeling about depression because I know, there was a time too where, like I said, I'm 13, 14 years old and I'm reading Emily Dickinson and Sylvia Plath and I just think it's lovely, like, their poetry. So, that's not knowing, like, then it actually happens and it's kind of like, oh, I didn't realize living in your brain for this is actually awful. And when I think of that, like, yes, I felt guilty, like, did I try and give that to myself? But that's an easier one, I feel like, to turn around and be like, who gives themselves depression?
Yeah.
What?
Even if we have a romantic idea of it, it's not like that.
Yeah, it's like, at least I can recognize that sounds absurd to be like, no, I really wanted depression, so I went out and got it.
Exactly. I mean, even with the eating disorder, like, we've each had it for over a decade. I think we know by now that it's not going to give us the things it promises in the beginning.
Right.
Like, I was thinking how by blaming ourselves, we're kind of playing into this narrative that helps the system. Because it's like everyone is in charge of their own mental health. And so we don't have to have systems in place to, like, help people because it's their fault. It couldn't be society.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were talking about being 13 and 14, and that reminded me of a journal entry that I wanted to read.
Ooh.
So it's crazy because this sounds like something I would write today.
Uh-huh.
But just remember that I am 17 when this was written.
Okay.
All right. December 9th, 2010. I loathe myself. It's all my fault. Every bit of it. I can't blame anyone else for the fact that I'm dumb and worthless and messed up. Everything happened this way because of choices I made. If only I could go back and change it, or better yet, not been born at all. So many people would be happier. Peak emo phase.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it's the teenage melodrama, but I get it as a feeling that, yeah.
It is the teenage melodrama. And I guess I still think like a melodramatic teenager because I find myself going back to this script of it's my fault that my life is the way it is. And if I had just made one better choice, like 15 years ago or whatever, things would be different.
That's another interesting thing I was just thinking about because thinking like, yeah, that I go back to that and I still blame myself a lot, yeah, for the teenage thing where I feel like, oh, I think because I had this idealized view of all of this stuff and didn't know like what it'd turn into. But we've talked about before how when you develop like severe mental illness like this, a lot of times it kind of keeps you stuck in that age.
Yes.
So like that makes a lot of sense then actually why. Yeah, I'd still go back and just be like, what if a part of me still kind of believes what I did when I was 13 and thinks like, this is going to be my beautiful way out? And it's like, well, yeah, of course those thoughts are still coming up because there is a part of me that has not matured past 13.
My therapist has been trying to do IFS with me. And so we've been dealing with that exact thing. Like, I feel like a teenager. I almost need like a future version of myself to come and say, hey, you're safe. You're doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your fault. Like, that's all I would need to hear is it's not your fault.
Yeah.
But no one told me that. You know, I was taught, oh, anything bad that happens to me, it's because I'm sinful. Like, it's because I did something wrong. So I deserve whatever comes of it.
And it's kind of a bummer to think now that it's like, yeah, probably when I was, like a teenager, then I even would have imagined like it would be nice if, 40-year-old me would come back and reassure myself, yeah, that it's okay and it's not my fault. And I can, kind of like fantasize on that. And I'm just kind of like, now I am 40-year-old me, and I still feel the way that teenage me did.
Well, there's always 50-year-old you.
Yeah.
Yeah, my idealized version of myself just keeps getting older and older.
So at some point, then there's going to be wise me. I'm not sure where she is.
But even then, it's like we are taking the blame for like coaching our younger selves. Like,
and we got blame in circles going on.
Seriously. Talk about exhausting.
And no wonder we're so tired.
I know. Well, and I was thinking of an exercise we could do. So, like, I'm sure there's a moment that you can think of where you made a distinct choice to do something that you knew you probably shouldn't, and it had big impacts on your life. So, like, for me, it would be the first time I made myself throw up, or like the first time I had a drink to get drunk. Like, a moment that clearly separates your life into the before and after.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that moment and because you made the choice you did, then everything that's happened since then is your fault. I'll use my Benadryl use as an example. I remember the exact moment on an air mattress in my dad's office that I decided to take 3 times the dose that I normally would to go to sleep because I was bored, I was restless, I wanted to get fucked up, and that was what I had. And so I'm very embarrassed looking back at that moment. It was 6 years ago now. And for 6 years, I've had an issue with this drug that most people don't even know you can get addicted to. And it's so easy to blame myself for that moment. And like you say all the time, nothing's black and white. Like, yes, I do have responsibility for that decision. But when I look back at like, okay, was it really my fault? In order to get to that point where I was taking 3 times the amount I should have, I lost my job in Seattle because COVID happened. My bulimia was worse than it ever had been. I had just flown to stay with my parents for an indeterminate amount of time. I lost access to weed. I couldn't binge and purge because they were surveilling me. I was feeling very alone and in distress, as we all were. So, like, of course, I would reach for that in that moment.
Yeah, that's a lot of things happening at once.
It makes so much sense. And so I'm not saying like it's not my fault, but I think going back and examining the factors that led to you making that decision is really helpful. I don't know if you have anything like that.
I kind of do. And this will be fun to explore because I feel like it actually maybe managed to not blame myself in the end. At least not as much.
Oh.
Because first of all, what's interesting is I do hear a lot of people say, kind of the thing where you said, like, I know the first time I made myself throw up or something like that. Whenever I hear that, then I always kind of like scan my life and I'm just kind of like, I never have any of those moments. I swear, like whatever it is, it all just snuck up on me.
Well, and that's more typical, I would say, because it wasn't really that moment. There were lots of little moments leading up to that point. We just didn't know they were leading up to that point because they were out of context. But it's so, like my sister said, hindsight is 20/20. It's so easy.
So the thing I wanted to use was the time I think my third year in college, and I was living in a house with two other friends. And the one friend, I read a couple pages in her diary. Obviously, you put it like that, sounds bad. But first of all, I stayed friends with this person for a while. I stayed with her when I first moved to Chicago. I pulled away because I didn't like how she was treating me, and things kind of, fell apart. And then I just, decided like, I just don't want this person in my life anymore, and, never talked to her since. But back to the diary thing. So at that time, I mean, this is, like 1999, 2000. So all college students didn't, carry laptops with them and already and have smartphones and all of this kind of stuff. I don't think we even had wireless internet. So really, like, she was the only one in the house that had a computer that had internet capabilities.
Gotcha.
So at this point, we've been living together for a while. It has always been established. She's like, you guys can come in my room, check your email, whatever you need to do. That's open to you all the time. So she knows I'm going in and out of her room. And she leaves, the notebook she's been journaling in wide open on her bed with my name written all over in it. So,
okay.
So, I mean, no, I shouldn't have read it, but Jesus Christ, girl, you I'm coming in your room regularly, and you leave this open, and my name's plastered all over.
Yeah, I was on the fence until you said my name was plastered all over it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's pretty wild.
And that was really, like, all I wanted to read, because you see your own name, and it's like, you kind of feel a little like, I know I don't have the right to invade your privacy, but I kind of feel like I have a right to know what you're saying about me. And it was all terrible.
Oh.
And I remember that being a turning point, because this was one, I thought about this, for a long time afterwards, and I never, confronted her on it or anything like that. And I was just kind of like, not only did I think we were good, close friends, but I literally never had a reason to say something bad about you until now. Like, I didn't know that I should be picking apart your actions and things like that. Well, apparently that's all you were doing with me. So yeah, that's where I feel like as the years went on and, and we had whatever kind of relationship we did, then when it all ended, it did kind of think sometimes like, is it because my view was always kind of tainted after reading that? And, and that is my own fault for reading it. I could have just left and assumed, I don't know, she's writing the minutes of her day, so my name's there because we live together, But then, as I think about things, then I just kind of like, literally some of the ways she treated me were horrible at the end. So it's just kind of like, yeah. So even if I had turned around and assumed she only said good things and never knew, I feel like, you know what? That's not a reason to blame the end of our friendship. She acted the way she did anyways. It's better off without her in my life.
That sucks, dude. I feel gut punched on your behalf.
Yeah. I don't remember all the things she said, but I remember the one, because it was a lot of I think it was a lot of her feeling insecure about herself. So, taking it out on me. Being like, oh, I hate, when Lauren does this, she just wants attention. And I hate, when she is dressing in little tank top around this guy, she's showing off or something like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the worst one, though, is because this is after I'd started having, the panic attacks that, the first one, literally lasted for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah.
And
college,
especially then, I didn't have it really under control, and it still would happen sometimes and could, be hours while I try and figure my shit out. And I just saw where she wrote something. She's like, oh, a bunch of us wanted to go out to Steak and Shake and get some snacks and coffee or something like that. And then, of course, at some point, then Lauren had to start doing her rocking and shaking thing. I guess she wasn't getting enough attention.
What?
Yeah.
Because you do that all the time.
Yeah, I was
you
like,
just can't get enough
that's
attention.
right. I love having panic attacks. Said no one ever.
That is so fucked up.
Uh-huh.
Seems like you made the right choice there to separate yourself from her.
Yeah.
I saw my name in my mom's prayer book once.
Ooh.
But it wasn't lying out in the open. I might have gotten a little curious. Just a couple things I have on the list in addition to those where I blame myself for not doing more, not feeling enough, or feeling too much.
So what you're saying is nothing is ever going to be good enough.
Yes, exactly. And then I blame myself for being unhappy for having such high standards. I'm like, I'm putting too much pressure on myself. This is why I'm unhappy. How meta is that?
Yeah.
It's like meta blame.
I mean, it honestly makes me think of, like when you say like, oh, my problem is that I have too high of standards. For some reason reminded me of where I said, like, my dad used to tell me when I was little, your problem is that you're too sensitive. Where I'm like, these aren't problems. We don't need to blame ourselves for having a standard you work towards or having sensitivity.
Or having mental illness.
Yeah, or having feelings.
Or having, relationship problems because we're human.
Yeah, or having a bad day because everyone does.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the urge to like go and give myself a pep talk now after this. It's really easy to blame yourself. It's not so easy to like go back and ask, okay, but is it actually all my fault?
Yeah.
I think that was the hardest thing for me is even, questioning that because it's been so like hammered into me. Everything is your fault.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first step is just asking yourself those questions. Like, okay, but what things led up to me making that decision?
Yeah.
Self-compassion, baby.
I was thinking when you said, like, I feel like I want to go give myself a pep talk after. I was like, yes, listeners, everybody go to a mirror, point at yourself and say, you're great.
Say, it's not my fault.
Yes.
Unless, you did something really shitty.
Unless it is.
In that case, blame yourself.
In that case, maybe consider apologizing.
Maybe consider lowering your self-esteem. And on that note, we hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you have a good class.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye. If you like what you heard, tell a friend about the podcast. You can send them to picklesandvodka.substack.com, where they can listen to our entire catalog and find our newest merch. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us a voice message at speakpipe.com/picklesandvodka. My personal Instagram is at xtinajumper, and Lauren's is at Lauren3_AFH. We'll see you next week.